She's not what you think she is. She fucking hates you. Here's something I should have picked up on. Anybody who had any good relationship with me, you know, working relationship, friends, my ex, the narcissistic borderline personality, would always find some way to be in contact with that person. Whether it was a car mechanic that I'd always used for years, long before I'd ever known my ex, employee of mine, friends of mine, she'd always just suddenly, oh yeah, I saw so-and-so today. She'd be looking them up and she'd be finding them. It was like she had to just control everything. But there's this one occasion that really stands out to me, which was a bloke who was working for me. He was an employee of mine, and he said something to me that I never forgot, and I never pursued it, and I regret that. He said about my ex, she's not what you think she is. She fucking hates you. She must have recently given birth to my child, so I'd recently become a father by this woman, or she was pregnant with my child. I think that she'd already given birth. So I sprung to her defense. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just thought, I'm going to find out some more. He ended up, shortly after that, he went off work with ill health. And we haven't really had a relationship since then. So I haven't been able to speak to him about that. I regret that. If ever you're in a position like that, always explore what is it that that person means? What are they saying? In terms of the narcissistic borderline parent, when do they start doing this? The bad mouthing, when do they start creating a false narrative about you? Immediately. You know, as soon as you get together, they start that. They're preparing that ground. They're loading that barrel. You know, and you don't notice that. I didn't notice any of this. I just took everyone on, you know, I just took it all as being, excusing it, really. I used to use a mechanic. I used to use this mechanic. I bought my first car from him, and I'd used him for the whole time for years. I'd taken every car, every van. This is long before, when I first knew him, long before I ever knew my ex. I'd never met her. I was with a different girl then. But I used to always take my thing in, and we had one of those relationships, you know, you pick up his van, you have a good chat about things in the world, whatever, you know, you had that. It was perfectly okay. There was never a problem. And then this one time, my ex, she used to use a different mechanic, and she, oh, I can't get in there. I think I'm going to use yours. And so she went down to him, and she started taking her car there. I'm telling you, that relationship with him and me just disappeared. We didn't talk anymore. You got this vibe all the time that he in some way doesn't like you. You know, that borderline narcissistic parent is in every way trying to damage anything that you've got, trying to control everything. I'm sure it's a control thing. Then there was a really good friend of mine in literature, and we used to hang around together all the time. But she did the same thing for him. He ended up, different to the mechanic, he ended up phoning me up and saying, oh, I just want to talk to you about something, if that's all right. And we had a chat about it. He was revealing some of the stuff that she was doing. This has been going on for years. My daughter now is 11, so we can say that this has been going on for at least about 10 and a half years. I'd say 11 years. I bet when she was pregnant, she was doing all this. I think it's just a control thing. I think that they need to have that control. Anything that's outside of what they can control, they've got to do something about that. So it's just a thought, really. If somebody tips you off on something and tells you about something, a little bit like what my colleague did, you know, with she fucking hates you, find out, what do you mean? What is that? Don't do what I did, where you try and defend that partner. What she's done is indefensible. What am I doing? Anyway, that's it. It's only a quick thought. I just wanted to have a speak to you. If you haven't already, and this is of value, please subscribe, comment, and share and like all that YouTube jazz. And I'm going to end it as I always end it. And I mean every word of this. You protect your peace, look after yourself, and I really look forward to seeing you again soon.